Well, hello, Facebook friends. This is Faye again, and I'm live today. And this report will be going live on YouTube. And you can get that at YouTube Insight USA. And I really recommend that you send it to your friends. And I want all of my Facebook friends to forward it to as many of your friends as possible. I just have to be very serious about what I'm doing, and I have to be accurate because of the situation that we are dealing with and what we just experienced in a manner that I have never experienced before. I sat and watched the John McCain 5-day celebration of his life in churches, using God, quoting scriptures, and then what was taking place during that time didn't mesh. I'm a born-again Christian, and you know that. A Spirit-filled believer that was taught that sin will destroy you. And when you become born again, you are sanctified holy, and you have a responsibility to live up to what the Scriptures say, and you follow after Jesus Christ, the holy Savior of all mankind. And I have been in deliverance ministry. I've been a Pentecostal evangelist. I've dealt with singles issues for 6 years. I dealt with single adults. So the spirit realm is not strange to me. I know that everybody has not walked in the Spirit. Most people now don't have a clue what it is to really understand and recognize and discern spiritual things. So I don't want you to take this wrong. But when I watched 5 days of celebration of this senator from Arizona being portrayed with the same respect as a president of the United States, I was very confused at what I was seeing. I was hearing what was being said by the people that were acknowledging him, speaking to him. And what they were talking about was a virtuous person. And watching John McCain, as I have for years, doing the crossover, he was someone that crossed over and worked with the other side, elevating the other side as being equal to his side, which didn't make sense to me either. But it took hours for me to think, what is going on here? And I watched this with an open mind for 5 days. I tried not to miss anything that was being showed worldwide. And the character that was being portrayed as the Senator John McCain. And in my mind, I thought, this doesn't make sense. What they're saying and what is actually happening makes no sense. The people he was standing with and promoting stood for abortion. They stood for immorality. They mocked God. They didn't represent any biblical-based lifestyle. And these were the virtuous people that were being elevated to give the senator the character of someone I never knew. So I kept thinking, what do we do? The church is there, the most beautiful choreographed event I have ever seen. I've been in television a long time. I have seen some of the best and some of the worst television production in our country through the Christian television market. And all I could think of is, what is going on? So today, I want to share with you what God revealed to me, and I spent days researching, trying to find the facts and trying to find the truth. And what God did, he took me back in June of 2017. My Face Facts reported on a witch's ritual that was being recalled worldwide. And the purpose of it, we even had the ritual that we used to educate intercessors what was taking place through the powers of darkness. And their target was the President of the United States of America. And the nights they were on the web calling down the destruction of President Trump, our intercessors were on the line, our line, praying for these curses to be reversed and for their ability to move President Donald Trump through the forces of darkness and through evildoers would never manifest. They were praying every month during the Ramadan special days. And that this is when the witches met. They united with the spirit of Islam. So they gave out the dates that they would be having their rituals. We had the manifesto of their prayers. We were reversing them all night long from January of 2017 until they ended it. I believe it was July of 2017. And they were willing that our president be removed from office and that he would be assassinated or murdered, and his ashes would be brought down. The witches would grant them to the winds, and he would be destroyed. This, I can send you exactly what I'm saying to you. I would not say it if I couldn't produce these documents. But what the Lord was saying to me as I was trying to figure out what is going on, what they're saying, and the reality of what they're doing is not one and the same. But trying to put it together, because it was the highest offices in the land, the most popular people in America, the most respected, like Henry Kissinger and people that I respect to a major degree. Yet they were honoring this man as though he was president, and he wasn't. So I want you to understand what happened, why it happened. It was pre-planned, pre-staged, pre-coordinated. And you must have the facts, because I believe this is where the church is today. People think it really doesn't matter if you vote for pro-choice people. Politics really doesn't have a biblical base. You can stand in front of Planned Parenthood and say this is the way America's going, and it's a constitutional right for you to be able to murder your own child, and it be tax funded, and nothing will happen to you. It's okay that you don't go to work and you just have more babies to increase your income, even though you can't take care of them, and you know that they're going to be neglected, and their father is not even recognized as a father. It's okay for all these things to happen, because it has nothing to do with the Lord. Wrong. And the people of God had better wake up. And I want you to know what we saw for 5 days from a Christian perspective. And it was the scriptures, the music, the testimonies. I just was stunned. My spirit just was grieved so much because it wasn't one and the same. So I know many of you felt the same way, but we've got to take that spirit of compromise. John McCain says we cross over. That is what you do for peace. Well, it is not. You don't shake hands with the devil and call it peace. Crossing over to compromise means you don't stand for anything. And it's deception and not peace. That's one of the first points I want to make today. I want to share with you an article that it took me days to find because Google is very non-conservative now, and I'm sure they took down a lot of things that used to be on there concerning the kickbacks to the members of Congress for federal grant money and for what was spent in Iraq and the money that was funneled back to members of Congress, members of the Senate, on these big jobs that has bankrupted America, basically, tried to. And we have to understand that our Congress must change in November, and it's not one party, it's all of the parties. And if the Christians do not get up, speak up, stand up, and speak out, and go vote, what you see now is going to get worse. This is the first article that I found. John McCain was caught making plans to take out President Donald Trump. And I got this off of the internet, and at the end of it, I think I have the source. But you can Google it, and it'll come up. John McCain was caught making plans to take out President Donald Trump. I just want you to know his funeral was pre-planned months before he had it. Barack Obama said he called him months ago and asked him to speak at his funeral. Now, John McCain professed, and everybody that was represented at these celebrations talked about character. They talked about values. And yet, here is President Obama, who stands in front of abortion clinics, praising them for what they do. And John McCain always talked about the military. Oh, I love the military. I'm going to show you some things about that in just a minute that'll probably surprise you. But there was never a president that despised the military and cut it back more than Barack Obama, but he was the speaker. But our president was disinvited, publicly embarrassed, publicly intimidated, publicly renounced. And so was Sarah Palin, another born-again Christian. So the values of John McCain were the values of Barack Obama. This is what confused me as being on a Christian stage. What kind of Christianity was it? So we need to find out, because Barack Obama and George W. Bush both had Ramadan celebrated in our White House and state dinners. They both took off their shoes. They both bowed to Allah in their official duties as President of the United States. They both said that Allah and Jehovah are the same person. They both said Muhammad and Jesus were equal. You could choose either, no difference. These were the speakers at the McCain funeral. So I want you to think about that as I read you this. It says, John McCain was caught making plans to take out President Donald Trump. After his betrayal last week, John McCain was caught making plans to take out President Donald Trump. But Trump instantly did something about it that shocked the 80-year-old Arizona senator. Moreover, in order to fully understand why John McCain wants to take out Trump, it should be President Trump. If I'd written it, that's what I would have put. Take out President Trump. We have to look at his connections. First, McCain is a globalist who earns money every time America is at war. Now, you can Google funds that are kickbacks coming back to the Congress during wartime. Their constituents, their donors that make the weapons that profit from wars, the federal agents that are sent in over and above our soldiers, our military, are paid enormous amounts of money. And I won't get to give you all of the information in these 17 pages of my research, but you can order them from me, and you need to do that. So look at this. He said he made money every time America is at war. He also received money to stand with the Ukraine against Russia. Think about that for a minute, and I've got something else that's going to be a real surprise to you. And also, he receives money from George Soros, and I've got the breakdown of the money George Soros put behind him and his friends like Marco Rubio and a few others. I have the breakdown of that money in this report. Ultimately, he stands for everything President Trump stands against. So McCain is the same as Hillary Clinton. He stands for the same things Clinton's campaigned on. And that is the reason why he voted against Obamacare's repeal. And now he is trying to ruin President Trump, assassinating his character. He's lied about President Trump. He's intimidated. He is totally ignored and insulted the Oval Office and the choice of the people in this nation. And as he does this, he is elevated to lion and state in our nation's capital. There's something wrong with his picture, my friend. And that cannot be the last memory America has of John McCain. I call it illegitimate authority, but he planned it. He choreographed it. He orchestrated. Everything about it was put literally. He could forgive everybody else. And all throughout his fight, he forgives. He crosses over. He doesn't hold grudges. He served America. This man became a multi-millionaire the 30 years he was in the Senate without ever having another job. So where did all that come from? The legislation, the kickbacks, and it's also the pathway that many other members in our Congress have had, and we have not called for audits. We have not called for exposure. President Trump can't eat 2 ice cream scoops without the call coming to question him. Let me finish. He says to ruin Trump's attempts to rethink sanctions on Russia. And I want to tell you why he wants to do that. Has nothing to do with collusion. Nothing whatsoever. His connections to Russia were stronger than President Trump's ever was, but it remained silent. Never mentioned. McCain's paid by Soros to provoke a global war or to arm other nations. That's why they wanted to bankrupt America. Because if they bankrupt America, which was their plans, and they pretty close came to it, and if there hadn't been a changing of the guards, would have come to it, is to eliminate Social Security. That's in a report you're going to be getting in a couple of months. If they eliminate Social Security and put all seniors, not all politicians, because they got their pension programs. Oh, man. Tax-funded pension programs. Just seniors on Social Security. All seniors will go to Medicaid. And Medicaid restricts your health care, your well-being. That is coming up. So you want to be a part of what we're doing. You tell your friends. You need to be friends with Faye. Facebook. It's Facebook.com/Faye USA. This YouTube, you need to email. Say, go watch Faye's YouTube special report, how John McCain pre-planned his own funeral to bring down a sitting president, the choice of America's people. Look at this. It says, why does McCain want to mess with Russia? The U.S. military industrial complex now has employed to force Trump to find a point that he didn't have any connections with Russia. He wanted people to think that he had no connections with Russia or its president. The Wall Street Journal reports that Pentagon and State Department officials developed a strategy to attack Russia by arming the Ukraine at a time when Moscow and Washington have had a relationship. And the Ukraine had John McCain on their payroll. So by standing with the Ukraine, standing with another attempt at war, it brought more money into the coffers of John McCain and other members of Congress, and that is not being told. Perhaps that's why they don't pass a budget bill. The Republicans or Democrats, their job is to have a balanced budget, but they refuse. Well, don't blame them, because it's our fault. And what God reminded me of as He showed me all of this, that it's there, but we're not getting the information, the accurate information, is this is operating through people we elected to govern this nation. So what I want you to do today, I want you to know, until you know who they are, and our congressional directory for everyone that would make a donation on our 800 number for $100 and help us get this message out and rebuke this deception and take down the mind control of people. This has every senator, congressman, all of their information, addresses. It has the committees they serve on. Right now, you really need to know who's on the Judiciary Committee with the Democrats. I have never seen anybody stoop lower in this country than the Democrats on the Judiciary Committee in a hearing for a Supreme Court judge. They were so vicious and so mean, so nasty, so vulgar in a committee hearing that the children of this potential Supreme Court justice had to leave the room of the Senate. And do you think this is the character of America? Are these the values? Well, they are when Christians do nothing. When Christians back off and don't take a stand. But the deception of what happened in the McCain funeral must come to light. I want to make sure I got all my points in here. I wrote them down. Okay. Now, the next issue we're going to deal with is the John McCain complained and wanted. We're told, now I didn't have time to Google this, but I'm positive that the report that was funded by Hillary Clinton's campaign, the dossier that is a lie, a total fabrication, a lie, originated with John McCain. And it was reported that John McCain is the one that gave it to the FBI, James Comey, I'm told, to investigate. Well, if it originated in the FBI with Bruce Orr and his wife, how did John McCain get it? So there had to have been a collusion here. And if that's the case, it needs to be reported, because that is what they are using to bring down a sitting president in the guise of an investigation where there has been no crime committed. Robert Mueller has illegitimate authority. And as we were praying, some of our intercessors believe that Robert Mueller is a spy. Jeff Sessions has been said by some of our intercessors as we were praying. Jeff Sessions is Judas. And they are carrying out the wishes of the witches to remove a duly elected president based on false charges funded by a Congress that knows no crime has been committed. They have interviewed 30 hours an attorney that was in the White House, 30 hours. They have petitioned for over 1 million White House documents. 15 liberal lawyers knows more about what's going on in our Capitol than any of us because of their illegitimate authority. So, if John McCain was the root of the dossier, then we need to know that. And we need to bring it to light. You say, Faye, well, everything's over. He's gone. No, everything's not over. Because the last image that America got from John McCain, that he was equal to a president of the United States laying in the Capitol building, and that his funeral was a direct rebuke to the President of the United States, whom he said was undeserving of the office. It's not over. It's not over. And here's what else you need to know. The real facts. Faye's facts about the senator from Arizona. It says, John McCain's campaign said Thursday it is returning tens of thousands of dollars in contributions solicited by a foreign citizen. I can't read the entire thing because it's pages. But John McCain was given donations from Russia. He had to return $50,000 in campaign contributions when it was brought public, even though he was on the committee that said it's illegal for a candidate to receive donations from a foreign citizen. He did $50,000 when he got exposed, had to be returned. You need to get my report. I'm going to tell you how in just a few minutes. And then I want to continue to take you over. The campaign letter to donors notes that the federal law bars contributions from foreign nationals, that all donations and that all donations cannot be reimbursed. 8 months ago, a top fundraiser for Hillary Clinton, Norman Husu, HSU, was indicted for making contributions to various political candidates in the names of others. McCain is the co-sponsor of the campaign finance reform law that bears his name, that he is trying to resolve any questions involving Sargent, the one that gave the $50,000 to John McCain, Russia, in campaign contributions. Never came out at his 5-day elevation to president, the senator from Arizona. And then we go to Section C. And I wish you could see this. because I talk about the nasty women a lot. I have a petition, but it hadn't caught fire yet, but it's going to. And the nasty women in this country are led by Linda Sarsour, who is a Muslim, calling jihad every time she gets in our streets without any problem with the Department of Justice. She led 5 million women at the inauguration. They were everywhere. They were tormenting all of us. And they call themselves the nasty women. She just led the jihad in our Senate to bring down, to sabotage the hearing on the new justice. Then, I want you to look. Here is John McCain and Lindsey Graham, and they are wearing the pink vagina hats of the nasty women. This is the man who said that Sarah Palin was not welcome at his funeral. You connect the dots. You've got to hurry because it's taking longer. You're going to have to get a report. In Section C of this report, it says George Soros Fund Management, former hedge fund that serves now as the investment management firm, was founded by progressive billionaire George Soros. Tells how much money that he gave John McCain, Marco Rubio. It gives the exact contributions, and Lindsey Graham, amongst a couple of others. They're Republicans. These are Republicans he's funded. Almost every one of them are now out to take President Trump, the duly elected president of the American people, who stands for God, the Word of God, and the people. We can't let this stand. I've got one more thing I want you to know, but these are the facts. I need for you to get them. The last thing that we're dealing with is the federal grant money. The federal grant money that comes in wars, going to contractors. The kickbacks to John McCain, and it also gives you his constituents that he makes legislation so they can send the weapons. They make the weapons, uniforms, bullets, gun, everything. These are companies that profit from going to war. In this report, it shows you the people that John McCain visited and called for a war that President Trump renounced. Their leaders are here. He's photographed with them. War was where his profit came from. I just want you to know, God is not pleased with this. He has been used and mocked. And the spirit from the grave must be sent back. I'm going to close with this. When I was in Russia a few years ago, I had a TV crew with me from Finland. I was preaching in Red Square in the evening. The Russians were mandated to come and pay tribute to their leader. And he was in an open casket. And I was in front of that tomb preaching the book of Revelations with an interpreter, and Red Square was full. And I just want you to know, I turned around and I looked at that martyr. That's what he was made. Imagery. This was a wonderful person. It was not. It was an evil man. 2 weeks after I left Russia, they buried that man. There's been no more marches to elevate him into something he was not. And I'm asking Christians today, don't buy the lies. Our president, is worth us taking a stand with him against the workers of iniquity. Robert Mueller is operating in illegitimate authority. He is a spy. The people we elected to Congress funded him. We're $20 trillion in debt. And when you read this report, you're going to understand why I use my television program. I can only touch on things because of the rules of Christian television, to keep it Christian and keep it going for souls. And we're very careful about the things that we address. But people are hungry for the truth. That's why I send every week a Face Facts detailing it. I have a prayer bulletin that's leading prayer teams nationwide, and it's in demand. I've never had so many requests and invitations and new people. And I don't have the staff for this. I'll be honest with you. I'm basically the small fish in a big pond. That's changing. So become a prayer warrior with us. Get our weekly Face Facts. But in order to get it, you have to support it. I can't take you to race. It is filled. It takes me days and days to get the facts. It has the current events in it. It has the Bible study for that week that addresses the issues of that week with biblically based prayer points. And it's sourced. The one I just did gives you the definition of socialism, which the majority of our kids now have become, in a free nation. It's an abomination to God. Christians, join me. Pray with us. Take a stand. Know who's governing your country, because November the 8th is D-Day for our country. I love you. On my Facebook friends, please forward this. Go to the 800 number and say, Faye, I'm going to support you. We can't take all of the invites. We need the money to do it with. We are working right now on getting an 18-wheeler trailer truck to take to Berkeley University filled with Founders Bibles. These are Bibles that were written based on the scriptures that this nation was founded on in chronological order. It is one of the most awesome books. We've given them for donations for years, hundreds and hundreds, for a donation of $500, and people would get them and they would thank me for them. We want to fill that truck, but we need your help to do it. They don't cost $500. We did it as a gift back to people who would support our ministry. But we need to order them. We've got to get the Word of God. It's the only thing that heals. He sent His Word to heal them. And I want you to support that. $100, $500, $1,000. Some of you could give $5,000. Others, you owe God a lot. And you're looking, where could I give this that it won't go into somebody's pockets or making somebody else rich? Don't. It will go where you send it. I love you guys. John McCain pre-planned a funeral to bring down a sitting president of the United States and got honored to do it. Disgrace. Share this with your friends. God bless you. I look forward to hearing from you. Don't forget Faye's, the TV show. Everything's on our website, insightUSA.us. And I look forward to talking to you later. Shalom.